if you have Netflix, I will implore you to watch Concrete Cowboy, the Ricky Staub film that just came out. Because I think while this is a I think this is a pretty I don't think this is like a new story, right? Like we've seen this sort of story a bunch of times. I think the twist of like the take on the Fletcher Street Urban Riding Club in this movie is a very unique addition to this, and kind of just adds like a nice presence to the movie and adds like a interesting distinction. And you get Idris Elba just being this like old guy who pops in every once in a while in the movie. It's kind of nice. How did you feel about Concrete Cowboy?
Yeah, I don't know if the movie itself had too much stand out to me. It's a very familiar story in that regard because, there's some sentimental beats.
Mhm.
Kind of can guess where things are going to go. And I actually would have liked more if they leaned into even further the history of black cowboys and how that's a
Yeah.
story that's very rarely told. And I was aware of that story. I wasn't aware of the presence specifically in North Philadelphia, of course. But I actually would have liked if they leaned into more of that stuff and almost like the gentrification in this case in areas like North Philly and how this is a specific piece of black culture that is often being ripped away. And that's kind of on the periphery of the story of Concrete Cowboy because we're getting a lot of that fish out of water, coming of age stuff for Caleb McLaughlin's character Cole. So what you get though, I think it's still well made, well told, even if you kind of the beats.
Yeah. It's really just a solid film, I'd say overall. And I mean, you mentioned Caleb McLaughlin, Stranger Things,
Hmm.
uh, fame. I thought he was pretty good in it. I don't think he's going to be the next like Denzel after this performance or the next like on a big Hollywood star, but I think he did enough where I'm like, "Nah, he might be like a solid B actor moving forward." I thought he was pretty good. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've really seen him do anything outside of Stranger Things. And I mean, obviously, we know Millie's been busy and Finn Wolfhard's been doing stuff too. And I guess he's the next most busy of the kids, like Joe Keery and Natalie Dyer side, I guess. But like this, him tackling more adult subject matter, right? Like it's heavier at times, and he's actually doing a little spin, like with an accent. I don't think that's his normal voice, but I thought he was solid. And like in those moments where he's like really upset or he's trembling or something, and I'm like, it's pretty good. It's like you can see the seams a little bit. I guess it's hard to go up against someone like Idris who just has a really strong screen presence without even saying anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, he was pretty good, and he definitely someone I just want to see where that career goes. And I think you're right. I think there is some potential for some solid success, no question. Uh, Jarrell Jerome, I actually wish his presence was even greater because obviously recent Emmy winner for the Central Park Five miniseries, but his character I think was like where like the most familiar beats came into play. So you kind of understand what his role is in the story. I pretty certain I know exactly what's going to happen to him and how that's going to affect Cole because everything's about Cole's story, right?
Mhm.
But Jerome is still, a talented guy, and I think some of the best scenes for Cole are in his scenes, in those scenes. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, the show you're looking for is Now They See Us, from Netflix, and I agree. I think like even though he's more of just a driver of Cole's narrative arc, I still found the scenes between them to be really engaging and definitely. I forgot who played the drug dealer, but he was like really intimidating. I thought he was great in that role. Um, I actually also really thought the scenes between Cole and Smush allowed Caleb McLaughlin to kind of show off what I think made him so great in this, because so often, yeah, like you said, when he's up against Idris or even against like some of the other people in that community, the adults, he kind of shrinks at times away, and like I feel like he kind of gets outshone. Uh, I was looking for the name of the actor who was the disabled actor, or
Hmm.
in the wheelchair, differently abled, I should say.
Well,
I couldn't find it.
Well,
but
they
he
said
was great.
he was one of the real Fletcher
Actually,
Street people, right?
yeah, and he was great. Every time he was
Yeah.
on screen, I thought he was fantastic. But against Jerome, I thought Caleb McLaughlin actually got to like sit with and like chew on what was going on in the scene a little bit more. Like you think
Mm,
about when he's like, "Oh, we're gonna build something together. You want that, right?" And like the way he kind of just like you see him like thinking and like looking back and forth, like right, like I really thought that was like a nice scene. I also thought after they get almost, I guess, like kidnapped after Smush almost gets kidnapped on the drug deal, um,
right.
and they run. I thought that was a really strong scene as well between them. So I really liked those scenes just because they got to show off a little bit more. Speaking of the like side characters, though, were there any others that really stood out to you?
Always happy to see Method Man.
Mhm.
This guy's playing the cop from the neighborhood, from the area. So yeah,
Good
shout out
cop.
Method Man. He actually is pretty busy, right? He was in
Yeah.
The Deuce, right? But the last time I saw him in anything good. But yeah, like I said, I wish the movie was a little more meta, a little more big picture.
Mhm.
Just because I think it's a great opportunity to be educational about this kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
still, still pretty good for what it is. Uh, and actually, I was surprised. I didn't realize this actually played Toronto last year. That was acquired by Netflix. I didn't realize this was a festival film.
2020 movie, yeah. Um, just want to shout out one of my favorite scenes was definitely the what I don't know what it was called, like the fair or whatever they had, the
Yeah, they
cookout.
called it a cookout. Definitely had like a
Yeah.
block party feel to me.
I just really thought that was a fun scene, seeing like Idris up on a horse, like doing the race. Just
Hmm.
it was fun. I think this is a movie worth checking out. It's like 2 hours. It's worth it.
Yeah, gotta say, the mom just straight up dropping Cole off in the middle of the night and like not making sure that he gets like in the house or anything. I was like, huh. Well, if your interests are if the self interest of the kid, maybe you could take an extra second, make sure it's like all taken care of. I was like, you just kind of dropped him and
Yeah, it's
GTFO'd.
tough.
I was like, huh, damn, tough
It's really
stuff.
tough.
And it's not like you're dropping them off like in the suburbs. You dropped them off in North Philly, so it's like one tough situation to another. Detroit to
Mhm.
North Philly, but hey, yeah, it's a war movie. Tough to be too
It's a
critical.
hell of a drive too, right? It's got to be
No, hell of a
like
drive. Yeah,
10
makes sense
hours.
why I was at night. Took him forever to get there.
Yeah. Um, well, check it out.